I think the best. Wait. Oh, okay. I feel like we start too many of these episodic shows off with just talking about how sad we are, how depression from our
Yeah,
sports
no,
teams.
depression has been like a key theme
I
in
s-
these weeklies.
I swear that in any one of these episodic shows that we do, I feel like we start off with something sad because between the Sharks blowing it to Jalen's Golden Knights. I mean, between Philip Lindsay being kicked out of Denver, essentially, between Jalen Over being a Kings fan, it's
Yeah, it's sad.
it, it's not good. It's not good. I'll tell you that much right now. It's just not a great time um, to be a sports fan for either one of us. But thank you all. Hopefully, your guys' teams are doing a lot better right now, and you're feeling a lot. Hopefully, oh, I swear, if some of you guys are Patriots fans, I hate you, hate you so much right now because it's not jealousy, because it's jealousy. But this is episode 56 of the Fourth and Long Show. Today for you, we got our typical NBA rundown with Joel Embiid's and the Sixers' hopes going down the drain possibly with this knee injury. Which team is most likely to finish first in their conferences between the Suns or the Nets? Second half predictions from Jalen, and then also who's currently the hardest team to be a fan for? And does CP3 even have a chance at MVP? Then some other NFL stuff. Trent Williams doing the most petty thing ever, I swear. Do you even want Juju? And who's the best division between the AFC East or NFC West? And also a little bit of our like an intro to our MLB predictions. We'll be getting those out as we get closer to opening day. But Jalen, besides the Golden Knights, because of course you're doing great right now.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to check out our most recent edition of the Power Rankings over on our Twitter at Fourth Long Radio and Instagram at Fourth and Long Radio. But besides that, are you feeling good right now? You feeling pretty good about your teams?
um, Cardinals wise, after yesterday's free agency, I'm pretty excited about that.
Patrick Pearson took a little
Even
bit
though
of a
Patrick
dig.
Peterson left, I mean Patrick Peterson, I'll love him forever. Like one of my favorite Cardinals of all time. Never gonna have hate against him. Sad he left, but still excited. Kings, don't want to talk about it. Giants, really don't want to talk about it. So yeah, I don't really watch a lot of. I mean, I watch other sports, but I really don't have like big teams
Hey, at
other than
least
the
one
Western
thing you have to look.
Bulldogs.
You have that's what I was going to say. You have one thing to look forward to, Jalen. If you guys have been able to catch our AFL preview shows and leading up to the season, of course, the first bounce was 2 o'clock Mountain Time Thursday morning for us Americans, and the Tigers, they're off to a hot start. And Dusty Martin looks like he's going to begin
Mhm.
3 votes this year.
Yeah,
But and also they're looking really good. They probably have the best midfield in all of the AFL. So if you want to learn more about that amazing sport, if you haven't already, go check out our preview shows and our breakdowns for those. But
go Bulldogs,
screw the Bulldogs. Let's go Giants. GWS Giants, not the San Francisco because or the New York
or any other Giants for
or
that
any other
matter.
Giants. No, just GWS. But Jalen, the first question we need to talk about today is Joel Embiid's MVP hope and the Sixers' one seed hopes completely done for with this injury, with Embiid sent to miss at least 2 to 3 weeks with a knee injury. Is it over?
Yes, I don't think they win the seed with. I don't think
Not
they
even
win the
going to
number
put
one
it
seed
lightly,
without
just
Joel.
going to put it down. No.
No, I would no. Their biggest part of their offense and defense and just team in general is Joel Embiid. Yes, they have Ben Simmons. Yes, they have Tobias, and yes, they have a solid team otherwise. But without Joel Embiid, they are not the same team anywhere near the sense of it. And when you're out 2 to 3 weeks at this point in the season, you lose your MVP odds. That's going out the window.
Yep.
It's what happens.
It's
We
over.
see it happen in all sports. Just like
Yep.
we saw Carson Wentz was in the NFL was guaranteed almost MVP a couple seasons ago. Got injured and didn't even get close to winning it. So as we see that they can go down the drain, and that happens in the NBA too. So I don't see him winning that MVP race, and I don't see him winning the number one seed because those 2 to 3 weeks are going to be crucial. And it's not like a normal season. There are some seasons like or this might be the 2 weeks might be 2 or 3 games because you might have a couple days off on breaks. But now
No,
with teams
you
having
don't get
almost
that.
every other day a game, sometimes two games 2 days in a row, there's no way that they are going to be able to hold on to the number one seed with those surging teams behind them and beat everybody without Embiid holding it down the paint.
So what you're telling me, Jalen, is that a MVP candidate is really important to its team and the team's overall success. Okay. I think that's a bit of a hot take. That's a bit of a hot take, but I can get behind that. And another thing you're saying then is that the Joker is going to win MVP this year, and no one else is even close.
I mean, Joker is up there definitely. I think he should be up there in the talks based off of how he's played and how he's played his entire career. He's been very underrated.
Probably the 3 MVP finalists you got. Always going to be LeBron James. He's always going to be out there because he's LeBron freaking James. Probably going to have James Harden, and you're probably going to have Joker. Those are probably, that's a really safe bet.
Giannis is going to be up there just because Giannis is Giannis.
Yeah, because he has a cool nickname.
Yeah, right now.
But he's only called by the nickname because almost no one could pronounce that last name still. And he's been in the league for a handful of years now.
Yeah, my MVP right now would probably be between James Harden and Joker.
Okay, the real King James of the league is James Harden. You heard it here from Jalen Johnson himself.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Send all your hate to him.
Guys, mark that down. That was Ross that said that. Jalen did not say that. LeBron is different. Honestly, the only reason I think LeBron's not going to win it is LeBron takes the most time off out of any other player. Not any other player, but
and that's why he's not the GOAT.
He takes a lot of time off. Other than like Kevin Durant and Kyrie, he takes a lot of time off. I mean, which is needed. He's getting the job done. I have no hate towards him, but I just don't think that's what's going to come down to. And I feel like a lot of people aren't going to like that, but that's just how it is.
That's fact. That is fact. Next thing I want to talk about, Jalen. So we have 2 teams right now that are in second place in the conferences on the day of recording this. Right now we have the Nets that are technically tied record-wise with the 76ers, but they're still on basis of strength of schedule, what have you. They're still in second place, even though they're currently on a 6-game win streak. Then over there in the West Conference, which is hands down the better conference, right now the Suns are 2.5 games behind the still surprising Utah Jazz. So out of these 2 teams, maybe going off of what we said about Joel Embiid now in the Sixers, who's more likely to finish first place in their conference?
Honestly, I think even with Joel Embiid back, I think the Nets take the number 1 seed. We talked about it when they first got there. It was a little choppy, so it was definitely something to worry about because we didn't know who's going to get the ball, who's going to score. Was James Harden still going to be able to put up triple doubles, double doubles on the Nets? And he's proven that he can. He's had a 40-point double double, first Nets to do it since Vince Carter. So I think he's playing great. Kyrie's playing and still being able to get his time off at the same time. And when he is playing, he's playing great in like old Kyrie. Kevin Durant, when he plays like one of the best scorers in the league and best players in the league. So that Nets team is completely solid. And like literally when you can, like I said, if the Lakers have Anthony Davis and LeBron sit out, they are almost trash, completely trash.
Straight up. Yeah, that team's a little top heavy. A little top
They
heavy.
lost to the Kings without Anthony Davis and LeBron James. That shows how bad that roster is right now.
Hey, they lose even with both of them.
I'm a very loving Kings fan, and we barely beat them without Anthony Davis and LeBron, and they lost a lot without Anthony Davis, even with LeBron. But the Nets, if Durant sits, they're still good. If Kyrie sits, they're still good. If Harden sits, they're still good. But if 2 out of the 3 sit, they're still good. So I think they're just an all-around good team. And when you could play like that and have a solid team, even when your stars aren't playing, I think that's what makes it. I have nothing against the Suns, but I think the Suns have a lot tougher time with Anthony Davis set to return pretty soon and LeBron coming back. I feel like they have a hard time with them. And all the other surging teams in the West, I feel like the East is going to be the easiest one to take for the Nets. I would like to see the Suns take number 1. I think it'd be exciting. But
the Utah Jazz, man, they're just too damn good. Even though both their All-Stars got picked last for whatever reason, because LeBron James is a hater. I think that's straight up. Come on, man. Like, so the excuse.
And also, the Jazz are kind of on a downward spiral right now. Not downward spiral, like they're still winning, but like I think they're like 5 and Yeah, they're in like a
There ain't no
5-5 in the
Houston
last
Rockets
10.
downward spiral right now, so
Yeah, like
I don't think
for
it was
them,
at those
I think
levels.
I'm pretty sure that they've lost 5 out of their last 10, but like they already did so good to begin the season that they were able to make these mistakes real quick.
That's what happens when you
So
get out there hot start. You get a little bit of a cushion there. But we're in the
exactly.
second half solidly. And you gave us your second half predictions. You might have already seen this over on Twitter or Instagram. But Jalen, speaking of the Suns and the Nets, now even the other New York team in the Knicks, give us your rundown for what is going to happen in the second half of the season.
Yes. So my first prediction for the second half of the season is that I had the Knicks making the playoffs based on how they're playing exactly right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the Knicks being the Knicks, this might just go completely downhill. But I have the Knicks finishing in the top 5 in the Eastern Conference to make the playoffs. Right now, I have them finishing as the 5th seed.
Ooh,
Going
boy.
into the playoffs, which would be very, very interesting. The East is the East is a lot stronger this year than it has been in past years. The
Mm-hmm.
East has kind of always been like the laughing stock, other than like the top 2 teams.
Right.
But this is like the first season in a while that I've actually been like, there's like a good 4 or 5 teams in the league that I think could take it. And this season, it's just kind of been weird in general. So I'm really excited to see what they do. I think with the way they're playing, with their rookies are playing, stepping up, their vets are stepping up. Also with the resurgence of Derrick Rose coming back to New York, amazing. So I'm happy to see it, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm all for it. I would
Oh,
love to
yeah.
see the Knicks in top 5 and not go out in the first round like they did during the Melo and Amari Stoudemire era.
Now
That'd be
that,
awesome.
top 5, a little bit of a stretch, but I could see that. Them actually winning the playoff series now, Jalen. You just got to
Yes.
slow down right there,
My
okay?
second,
Jeez.
yes. My second prediction for the second half of the season is Phoenix. The Phoenix Suns will be a force to be reckoned with. And as we just talked about, who would take the number 1 seed in the West? I still think they could do it. All
Ooh.
honesty, I think they can. The way they're playing with Devin Booker and CP3, they're both playing at MVP type play right now, and they're definitely on the way to being a top contender in the team. Can they keep it up? We don't know. We shall see in the second half of the season. But as of right now, the way they are playing, I think that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think they're going to have like a Jazz like run for the first, like Jazz ran the first half. I think they might be able to have that type of run in the second half of the season. I'm hoping they finish at least top 3. But if they could push for that one, it'd be nice. Because, me, obviously, like my team's not going to make it this season. No Sacramento Kings fan, it's just not going
There's
to
still
happen.
hope.
There's still hope, but
They
we're
haven't
not making the
been.
playoffs.
They haven't been mathematically eliminated yet, Jalen. So
Probability wise, yes, I'm taking statistics right now in college. Probability wise, we are not out, but we're not making it. We're not out because of other people. It is not in our hands if we make it or not.
Nope.
But as I was saying, I think that they're gonna make it, and I love a good underdog. I like seeing it mixed up. Like I like when it was like the Cavs and Warriors every single year for a couple years in a row. Like I like it because it's good basketball, and I want the top teams to make it. But I like seeing a new team up there. I like seeing it mixed up. Like last season with Miami Heat and the Lakers, it was Miami Heat without LeBron and that top and that big 3. So I like seeing it was slightly different. So I want the underdog story. I would like to see the Suns finish first. They haven't finished first in a very long time. So that'd be awesome to see. And then for my third prediction,
The Nets,
I
man.
put Blake Griffin will put the Nets over the top.
So some
that's saying
dude
a
with
lot.
some arthritic knees that can't dunk and has been Blake Griffin for a while. He's going to get enough rebounds a game to put them over the top.
I think he's still a great scorer.
At least he
I
can't make
think,
that defense worse.
Yeah, exactly. He can't make it any worse. But I don't think the thing about the Nets is they have 3, now 4 amazing scorers on their team that they can have on the floor at the same exact time. When you play bad defense, it does not matter. If you could put up 150 points a game and another team only drops 120 on you with you playing bad defense, you don't really have to worry about defense. Like, yeah, in the long run, you want to play good defense because you don't want to have to score 140 points. Because then if you have a bad shooting night, you're probably going to lose. But as of right now, they haven't had to worry about it. They played bad defense. I wouldn't say absolutely horrible defense.
Well, it's been
They played
NBA
bad
worst defense ever since James Harden got there. So I think you
Yes.
could call it horrible.
I mean, the Kings have statistically the worst defense in the league, so I can't really talk.
No.
But Yes, I 100% think that their offense is good enough to where they do not have to worry about their defense and how bad it is.
So going from the second half predictions, Jalen, going back to the original way we started off the show for whatever reason, it's just a continuous theme, is sadness. And there's at least three teams in the NBA right now. They're just heartbreaking to be a fan of. And thank God I'm not really connected to one of them because I don't know if I'd be able to handle it between the Sharks, the Broncos, between like the GWS, between just the A's.
Yeah.
They're all bad. But
I think I'm not connected to any of the teams either.
uh-huh. 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 Uh-huh.
I say as I'm wearing a whole bunch of Kings gear.
Exactly. But the question is, Jalen, who is currently the hardest team to be a fan of between you got the T-Wolves, you got the Kings, you got the Pistons, and if you want to throw in another one, let's say the Rockets.
Yeah. Okay. That was the team I was going to have to throw in. Right now, honestly, for me, obviously, it's the hardest to be a Kings fan because I'm a Kings fan. I only know how it feels to be a Kings fan.
When was the last time they were good? Was it the
2006?
60s? Oh, was it? When was the last time they won something?
2006.
When was the last time they won a championship?
Never. We weren't in Sacramento.
Was that still Kansas City?
Yeah, I think so.
The Royals. Oh.
Yeah, the Royals.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Didn't mean to do that to you.
I don't think the Kings are the worst team to be a fan of right now. With the Kings, you have some upside to look forward to, and I'm gonna go through all the teams and
The
why they're
underrated
not.
De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, they have underrated De'Aaron Fox, so they have now signed for at least another 4 or 5 years. They have a lot of trade pieces that they can use to get draft picks to try to move up in the draft. Plus, they're going to get a good draft pick this year, and they have a good young core. Yes, they're not winning games right now, but they have something to look forward to in the future. And if you've been a Kings fan this long, you're not really too worried about going another couple of years of losing just to get a couple more pieces. Yeah. And with the trade deadline coming up, you have a little bit of hope for a little bit before it goes away again. Another one. The Pistons. The Pistons are absolutely terrible, but they just traded Blake Griffin. Not traded, they let him go. Did they trade him or let him go?
No, they bought his contract. So
they bought him out. That's what I thought.
They let him go. Essentially,
they let him go. That era is over. They have some decent draft picks and they have a decent young players on the team. They're not probably going to be bad for a very long time. I don't see this as a terrible team. I just think they're not winning right now. They just lost Blake Griffin. They had all that drama going on. I think they're still figuring stuff out. Especially when you have a player on the team, which he was at that point, taking up that much cap to where you can't really do anything with it. You're going to lose games, especially when he's not playing. He was sitting on the bench taking up cap space that they could have used for other players. With the trade deadline coming up, I expect them to make a couple of moves to try to better their team. I don't think they'll be bad for long. Also, I don't think they're going to be a top team after this. I think they're going to be kind of like a middle-of-the-road team fighting for an 8th, 9th seed in the league.
Then what about being the Timberwolves where over the years you've had talent, you still got Cat. You got legitimate all-star talent, but either you're injured or even when they're healthy, you still can't do jack with it.
Okay, so my final two teams, and one of these two is going to be the hardest to be a fan of. For me, it's not the Timberwolves. Even though the Timberwolves, the Rockets are on a 17-game losing streak, and they still have a better record than the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have lost a lot of players. Yes, they just drafted Anthony Edwards, so I think they had high hopes going to the season. But if you weren't a fan of that team, you kind of saw that they still had a lot of other problems to worry about. But with Anthony Edwards there, the number 1 overall pick, who's playing pretty good. Obviously, I mean, I don't think he's the best rookie in the draft class. I would say he's probably around 3 or 4. Right now, especially with LaMelo and Tyrese Halliburton, the only bright side of the Kings. That's his new nickname. Being in the league right now, I feel like he's probably the number 3 rookie in the league, even though he is playing amazing. They have that to look forward to. Cat's still doing amazing as long as he stays. If he doesn't want to stay, you can trade him for some great draft picks or some great pieces somewhere else. So they have that to look forward to. The Houston Rockets. The reason why I think that they would be the highest team to be a fan of right now is because they, for the last good amount of years, have known nothing but winning in playoffs. Now, all of a sudden, after starting the season off decent and getting John Wall, thinking that you're going to have John Wall and Harden, and then all of a sudden Harden's no longer there. Now your top two, you had Boogie and John Wall. They have a connection. They're playing. Boogie gets his contract bought out, no longer on the team. Then you have Victor Oladipo and John Wall, and they're now on a 17-game losing streak for a team that's used to 17-game winning streaks.
Yeah.
So I think that's the hardest transition. When your team's bad or has been recently bad and they go back to being bad, you don't really get mad about it. It's the way sports work. But when you've been like a good team, like right now, the Houston Rockets are the Patriots of the NBA. They're really good, and all of a sudden they're absolutely crap all of a sudden out of nowhere. It's just what happens. You change your star player for another star player from another team. It doesn't always work, and that's the exact example of what happens. Yes, they have a lot of trade capital coming up though with the trade of James Harden, so that's to look forward to. But when you've been winning and then all of a sudden you start losing to this degree, like some team, like the Patriots barely missed the playoffs. Like I know they look bad, but they barely missed the playoffs.
Yeah,
the Rockets aren't going to be anywhere near touching an 8th or 9th seed, and I don't see it turning up from here. Yeah, I don't think their losing streaks going to go on forever. I think they're probably going to win one pretty soon. And they're going to start another one.
They're going to win one more game this season.
They're going to win like 4 or 5. I don't know.
4 or 5. Jeez.
Something I can count on my fingers. I don't see them winning more than 10 more games this season at the rate of which they're playing. But yeah, they have a good future with the draft capital. But when you're a winning team, the main reason why they're the hardest team to be a fan of right now is when you are a winning team and you drop off this bad, not even like before the season. Like before the season, they're like, we're good, we're set, we're still gonna make playoffs. And they trade for John Wall. They're like, yeah, we're good, we're set, we're still gonna make playoffs. And then James Harden left. They're like, we still got this. And now they're on a 17-game losing streak. So I think the fans are going through it right now. And in all honesty, I think fans are going through it right now.
You think?
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's I really don't know what else to do, man. It's just not good. It's just I genuinely feel bad for the fans of these teams because like these teams, maybe besides the Rockets, maybe at least the T-Wolves, Kings, and then the Pistons, they have some pretty diehard fans because they haven't been good for a while.
Yeah.
So I respect those fans for sticking with them. Like I hate the Raiders, but I've always respected those fans because they've sucked for a while, but they still got fans. So and
every year is their year.
No, now that's just the Cowboys, Jalen.
Yeah, that's just the Cowboys.
It's really tough to be a fan of one of those teams. But there we go. That's our NBA stuff for today. Now, let's talk a little bit of NFL, Jalen. Of course, if you haven't caught our NFL offseason Week 5 breakdown yet, where we gave all breakdowns from all day 1 and day 2 of NFL free agency, me and Alex killed that. So go check that out because a lot of underrated signings, a lot of overrated signings, and then most importantly, our biggest winners and losers of the NFL free agency period, pretty much so far. Yeah, the Texans are the biggest winners, and the Patriots are the biggest losers. Oh wait, no, had that one switched up. It's not the Texans. And a quick shout out to Bears fans, poor guys. So go check that out now. Available everywhere. But one of the guys on the show that we talked about while he was still on the market when we put the show out was offensive tackle, best tackle in the league, Trent Williams, and he now inks a 6-year, $138.06 million contract to stay with the San Francisco 49ers. He becomes the highest paid offensive lineman in history. But last time when you see this deal go through, like the highest paid, normally it's by like $1 million or so, at least. No. Remember last year, Packers offensive lineman David Bakhtiari, he became the highest paid offensive lineman in history.
Yes.
But Trent Williams is making $10,000 more a year than Bakhtiari is now. So
you know what they should have done to be like really, really
$1
petty?
$1 more.
No, a penny. They should just give him an extra penny and just put it on the contract. I'm the highest paid by a penny. And then it'd be funny because the Packers like, we just gave him 25 cents. It was like, I just gave him a golden dollar.
That's so damn petty. But it's really petty, but I absolutely love it. I love the tweet that Bakhtiari put out after that, making fun of it. It's that's so good. It's how you have the title of high. Well, if you were talking pennies, but $10,000 to one of these teams, that's like half a penny right there. It really is not that much money. So that's
Yeah, this
That's
ain't
great,
nothing.
but for the Niners, fantastic piece that they're able to keep him around, because there's no way that you could let him leave. He was the most important free agent on that team this year, so good for them that they're able to grab that down. And shout out to John Lynch for not being able to get both Trent Williams, but also the juice is back and he is still loose. So the Niners are doing pretty good in free agency so far. Now they just need a new quarterback.
Yes. Yeah, it's a big signing. I mean, I don't like to see it because I'm a Cardinals fan.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's not going to help JJ Watt or Chandler Jones.
yeah, but he can only hold on. He can only guard one of them. So, I mean, they just signed Alex Mack also, so that
Or
helps
Hassan
also.
Reddick for them either.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm a big. No, don't get me wrong. I'm a very, very big Hassan Reddick fan. He went from a walk on to a scholarship athlete to one of the team captains. And he got 12 sacks. But
The only player within the last 3 seasons to have a 5-sack game, so that's pretty good.
yeah, my thing is, I think he was great, and I would have loved to see him come back to get better. He had a 5-sack game, which is not easy against the Giants, and he had a decent season even without that game.
Yeah.
You know, but I also think that they weren't willing to break the bank off of one season, which is fair. And I understand that. Yes, as a player, you believe in yourself, and you know, like, oh, this is what I can be doing the whole time.
I kind of thought he was going to get tagged.
Yeah, but you know, it just happens. It's just one of those awkward situations. Do you think he can do it again? I don't think the Cardinals went to offer him the amount that he thought he was going to be worth, so the Panthers did.
That's right. Good move for the Panthers, though, because they finally get their edge rusher, which is something that they really need on that defense. So good move for either side. I mean, you still got Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, the NFL sack leaders since 2011. So, 1 and 2 right there. So that
number 1 and number 2.
That's a pretty good pass rush right there.
As of right now, on paper, I think we're still pretty set without Hassan. I would love to have Hassan back one day, but as of right now, I think we're still pretty set.
Exactly. And one of the things I want to talk about, too, is Juju Smith-Schuster. He's a free agent this year. When free agency, before free agency first time, we were like, oh, he's going to get his extension from the Steelers. And then time kept on progressing. It's like, oh, they haven't signed him yet. Oh, wait, now there's less of a chance that he actually returns to Pittsburgh. Oh, wait, now there's a 10% chance he returns to Pittsburgh. Oh, wait, now he's talking with the Jets, but he still hasn't been really signed or throwing some money his way. So that makes me ask, in your opinion at least, is Juju a wanted commodity? Because to me, for the amount of money he's probably going to be asking for, I don't want him. I wouldn't want him.
The first thing I'm asking Juju when he comes in for a meeting is, are you going to be dancing on people's logos again?
Or are you going to be deleting your TikTok account?
No, I don't. Like, you can have your TikTok if you're just doing those after game little TikToks, or you just doing TikTok in your free time. Fine. My thing is, as a football player and a great lover of the sport of football, I think dancing on the logo is one of the most disrespectful things in the world.
Yeah.
Terrell Owens proved that when he even danced, he just stood on.
He just stood there and he got blindsided.
Blindsided. Absolutely blindsided. So I don't like it personally. Do your TikTok stuff. Just don't dance. Just dance somewhere else.
There's a reason you don't really do stuff on logos. There's a reason NHL they don't walk over
around the logo. You don't step on the logo.
There's a reason back in high school, me and a couple of my boys posed on the other team's logo after we beat them as underdog in the playoff game.
Yeah.
We did not hump their logo. That's for sure. That'd be immature.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
I was there. I think I'm.
That's all the header on my personal Twitter.
Yes, it is. So go check out his personal Twitter.
I just don't.
You can see that.
Think Juju's worth it. I really don't. He's a talented receiver, but also I don't believe that Juju's even a wide receiver 1. He's a wide receiver 2. That's going to be asking for wide receiver 1 money. If he ends up in New York with the Jets, I feel like that's a fine fit because New York, you need the personalities almost. But I like a workhorse team, and
they just signed Davis, so it'd be a nice combo to go with those two. I think they're in the same draft class, if not similar, close.
And then you already have Mims there in New York too, so that could be a good group. But
it'd be a good group. I think the Jets could probably, if anyone, they can do it because they could sign a young little core that they already have, and they're like, look, can you take a little less money? We could make this work, and then after give you like a 3 year contract, and after that runs out, then we can give you the big money. But we're trying to rebuild right now. We can't give you all this money.
Yeah.
I think they have that. I feel like they're one of the few teams that can say that, and players would believe them. Like, look, we've been bad. We finally had the opportunity to be good. We really don't want to waste all of our money on one player. Can you give us a break? I think he might be able to make that work. So I think he'd be a good fit over there. I think he's a good receiver. I think he could definitely make it pretty much anywhere he goes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a receiver number one, but more just I don't think he's like a you have to double cover him to stop him type player. I think he's really good, but I don't see him as a number one. I see him as like a slot receiver, number two type. And I think he's going to have that type of career.
If you're a wide receiver one, realistically, you're going to have to at least be able to compete against a guy like a Jalen Ramsey, like type cornerback.
Exactly. Somebody following you.
Juju's not doing that. Juju's not beating Jalen Ramsey.
Not right now. I can't say for the rest of his career. At one point in his career, he might. But
right now,
no. Right now, no.
Jalen Ramsey's putting up that clamps on that guy, but he's still probably going to get paid. But not as much because also it's been kind of a bad year. It's been a bad year for receivers in general too. They've been making less money. Kenny Galladay's still out there too, so much rather have Kenny Galladay pay a wide receiver money.
I think right now Juju's not signed because people are waiting to see the contract that Kenny Galladay gets.
And then you kind of go off of that.
Because that's going to be what the rest of it looks like. Because AJ Green just got signed for $8 million. It's really $6 million guaranteed with like another $2 million in incentives. I think people really don't want to go off of that just because AJ Green, it's kind of like a low risk, high reward type situation. So you don't really want to base your rest of your free agency contract.
No, I'm not basing my contracts off of what the hell AJ Green's getting paid.
Exactly.
Maybe 4 years ago, yes, but right now.
I mean, he's making a little amount, so he's making $6 million. So I think a lot of players were thinking, "Hey, he's kind of going off the door."
That was a good deal for the Cardinals.
That was a very team-friendly deal.
Exactly. So I'm cool with that.
I think that Juju and Galladay are both going to be looking for around like $8 to $10 million. So I think that they just still haven't seen what their limit is, and so teams are going to be willing to give them that money just to find out.
And sticking while on the conversation of teams like the Cardinals and the Jets. I want to put these two divisions together, Jalen, because these two divisions have seen a tremendous increase in talent over the last couple of years, and this free agency in specific. Right now, in the NFC West, you have clearly the best division in the NFC from last year, and it's only gotten better unless you're the Seahawks. I feel so bad for them. But you have the Cardinals really revamping that defense. That offense has really been developing, especially if they get a Philip Lindsay type guy, which we'll talk about in a second, that could really put them over the top. And then just defensively, look at that division between the Niners, between the Cardinals, and between the best defense in the league with the LA Rams. That's even worse news for Seahawks and Russell Wilson. It just keeps on getting worse every time we keep talking about it.
Yeah, I know Russell Wilson cried when he saw that they signed Andy Dalton to the Bears.
And also poor Bears fans. You go from Russell Wilson to Andy Dalton. Oof.
Yeah, I had high hopes for you guys.
More of the story, Jalen. Never get your hopes up as any bit of fan. But then over in the AFC East, you got the Bills, which are more in the AFC Championship game, and they're probably going to be back, and hell, they're a Super Bowl contender at this point. The Miami Dolphins, sure, they didn't make the playoffs last year, but they missed the playoffs as a 10-6 team. That hardly ever happens. They're a legitimate playoff team, and they're only getting better with one of the best defenses and arguably the best cornerback duo in the league. And then you have the Patriots, which have just absolutely made free agency they're a kind of bitch to really put it that way. Bill Belichick has been going on the spending spree, and if you listen to our NFL breakdown, which you can still go check that out, Bill Belichick is on a bit of a midlife crisis at this point because he's just spending some cash. Then you got the Jets. So, in each division, you have clearly three great teams, and then you got the Seahawks, and then you got, there's the Jets. But three teams, or two divisions, which three teams are playoff caliber. Which division's the best one?
I think right now I would have to say, just because I feel like the AFC I feel like right now they're still building. Those teams are on paper really, really good and definitely threats. I think the NFC West right now has kind of been like in the top conversation for divisions for a long time, and just with all these additions in free agency, besides the Seahawks, are kind of, I think they forgot what time of year it is, and not signing anybody.
I think they've signed one or two players, but no one from a different team. It's only been re-signings.
I honestly think like Shaquille came in to get his stuff. Shaquille Griffin came in to get his stuff, and they're like, "Where are you going?" And they're like, "Oh, I signed with another team." They're like, what do you mean signed? And they're like, it's free agency.
Wait. What's that?
So they're not doing anything right now, but I think that they still have potential.
They are doing one thing, Jalen, and the one thing they're doing is making Russell Wilson cry.
Tanking for enter new quarterback's name here.
Oh, jeez.
We'll find out soon after this college football season gets going, who they're going to be tanking for. But I don't think Russell Wilson wants to be there. No. If I was a quarterback and I saw that defensive lines and cornerbacks in that division, I wouldn't want to be there.
Hey, I'm hand the ball off every play.
Exactly. Like, that's not my problem, coach. I told you I don't want to be here, so I'm going to hand it off.
Wait, coach, you said kneel down? You said kneel?
Yeah, I'm going to kneel it down.
Every play kneel down?
But okay. I think the NFC West right now, just based off of the defenses, the coaches in that division, and the offensive weapons that are in that division, and even the kind of lower level players, the level to which they're playing to for those teams right now, I just think the NFC West is somebody, like, other than the Seahawks right now, but even the Seahawks, if they get that Russell Wilson thing figured out, they're going to be back in the conversation. If they start doing something for agency, they'll be back up there. They just made playoffs last year. Like, they're not a bad team. So I think after they get it figured out, there'll be 4 out of 4 teams in NFC West who are all playoff contenders. So I think that's a dangerous division to have to go against.
It is a dangerous division, but Jalen, the only problem there with your logic and argument is that you're putting a lot of faith into the Seahawks not messing something up again. So
yeah,
that's a big if. That's a big if. Right now, I'm gonna have to go with the AFC East just because the Bills are Super Bowl contenders. And they're similar divisions because you got the Bills, which you could kind of put them. You can compare them to the LA Rams, where they're Super Bowl contenders going into the season. You have the secondary team, which is the Miami Dolphins, who are definitely playoff contenders, and you could put that with the Arizona Cardinals, definite playoff contenders. And then you have the Patriots, which are playoff contenders. You could put those. I think they're closer to the San Francisco 49ers type team. And then you got the two disappointments with the Jets and Seahawks, like we already mentioned.
I mean, yeah. The Jets just got, I believe it's Salah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Saleh. They got Rob Saleh. So, of course, that's going to be a huge addition, but it's still...
he brings a huge intensity to that team. I think he can turn that team around. If anybody can turn that team around, it'd probably be him.
If anyone, he was hands down the best head coaching signing in the league during this offseason.
Right now, based off of that and what he's building right now, I would put him over the Seahawks right now and what they're doing. Obviously, the Seahawks...
Rob Saleh is better than Pete Carroll. Right now.
Okay.
No. Right now, he is. Let's be bold, Jim. But right now, if the Bills win against any of those 4 teams, I'm taking the Bills in most of those games. I know the Cardinals probably not going to get another Hail Mary. Okay,
so I don't know about that. We have 2. Now we're just going to put AJ Green.
Don't you dare lean into. I saw you lean into the mic, Jalen. I knew exactly what you were going to say. Okay, back up out of that.
I was going to say I'll match your Bills with the Hail Mary.
yeah. Back away from the mic. The Bills are beating the Cardinals 9 times out of 10.
Hail Mary 2.0.
Shut up. I got
mark my words.
Right now, Jalen, I hate this, but I'm putting the Dolphins as a better team than the Cardinals. No. I will go with that. I think it'd be a great game. I almost like the Niners.
How would you rank it if they were one division?
Okay, we're going the Bills, Rams, Dolphins, Niners, Cardinals, Jets, Seahawks.
Okay, I would probably go Bills.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is really tough. I'd probably go Bills, Rams, Cardinals, Dolphins.
Niners or Patriots? I forgot the Patriots. My bad. I don't know how I forgot the Patriots. The Patriots are behind the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, then I put 49ers, and then I would put Patriots, and then I would go Jets, Seahawks.
Oof. Seahawks. Oh, Seahawks at the bottom. Not often do you see that, but I probably hell, Jalen, because what's going to happen anyway is Super Bowl 56 is going to be the Buffalo Bills versus the LA Rams, so you can book that right now.
No, it's gonna be the Cardinals. The
Against
Cardinals are the Cardinals are going all out right now. So
yeah, I already told you. Okay, here I'll make the other bet. So I'm talking about MLB on our UFC stuff. If you heard that, Blake made the bet that if Justin Gaethje, who's never attempted a takedown in the UFC, attempts one against Mike, or in the rest of his UFC career attempts one, especially against Michael Chandler, which is the proposed fight that's likely going to be happening according to Ariel Helwani, he will have to do the one chip challenge, which is a really, really spicy and awful tortilla chip.
And it's also like $20.
Yeah. So it's a chip. And then I told Jalen that if the San Francisco Giants win the division, which there's no in hell they do, I'll eat one chip. Then I'll tell you right now, Jalen, you're going to make one of these bets to balance things out soon. But
Okay.
we'll find a way. But
You have to find a bet I can make. Yeah.
exactly, we'll find a bet that you can make. But I will say that
We can do it for the Rockets. I said the Rockets won't win more than 10 games this season.
So if the Rockets win 11 games, you have to eat the chip.
If they win 11 more games for the rest of, how many games do they have left? Let me look that up real quick. I don't want to make a bet.
We just made through halfway. So do some math. Half the games.
How many games are left in the NBA season? I put NFL. All right, there are 72 games this season, and we've made it halfway, which is 35 games left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
35 games. And right now the Rockets they're at 11 wins. So you say if they break 20, they're
at 11. Yeah, so if they break 20, if they hit 22 wins, I will eat one chip.
Oh, let's go. And then Jalen, just to help you out too, I'll make another one. If the Cardinals make the Super Bowl, I will eat that chip.
So you're gonna eat 2 chips if you're both both.
I will eat 2 of those.
All right.
I have no problem with that because it ain't happening. Honestly, I think this Rockets one might be a little, but I really,
it's fine with me.
I really hope, because that would be a great time.
Watch, the Rockets are going on an 11-game win streak and then start losing for the rest of the season. Or my thing is, I'm really scared.
No, they're going to win the last game of the season. Is going to get them to 22 wins.
That's what I'm gonna say. They're going to win the last game of the season. I'm gonna be mad if the last game of the season is against the only team worse than them.
I can pray. Well, it's because the last game is their last 3 games. I'll say last 5 or probably losses, because they have the Jazz, the Trailblazers, the Lakers, the Clippers. And then their last game of the season is against the Hawks. So
you also have to think, depending on if the Lakers are clinched or are not in position,
they might be resting.
They might be
The
resting.
Clippers might be resting. The Jazz might be resting. Fingers crossed, baby. Fingers crossed. And so let's go back from happiness. Let's go back to sadness, because the Broncos rescinded Philip Lindsay's RFA, and they agreed to mutually part ways. And I am super sad about
when did that happen?
This morning. It happened it happened Thursday morning in the NFL. So,
oh my goodness.
I did not
hear about that.
Before I went to class, I checked Twitter, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm sad."
I mean, originally he had an original round tender, which he was undrafted free agent. So technically, what does that mean?
They get I think it was a low round. They would get a low round, like a day 3 kind of. A day 3 pick is what they would do instead. But
so like a 7th round pick or something.
Essentially, but he's gone now, Jalen. So where do you think he's going to go? I think James Conner is out of Pittsburgh, so I think the Pittsburgh Steelers might be a good spot for him. The Buffalo Bills need a running back. If they get a dynamic running back like Philip Lindsay, they are hands down a Super Bowl if they're not already a Super Bowl contending team, that's a Super Bowl contender right there. Because what's the one thing that they didn't have last year? a good run
Decent
game.
run game.
Philip
Yeah.
Lindsay's a damn good running back. I mean, look, he in 3 years with the Broncos, what he's been able to do is become the first undrafted rookie to make the Pro Bowl, offensive rookie to make the Pro Bowl, the first undrafted player in NFL history to rush for back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons to start his career. And he's only one of 6 running backs with at least 2,500 yards and 4.8 yards per carry, and he's never fumbled the football.
Yes.
So that's good. That is real good right there. I like the Cardinals. If the Cardinals get him, he's like a way better Kenyon Drake, kind of like there. Or I'll put a 4th team with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, Seattle Seahawks need a running back. I think they'll look for the draft for that one. Right now, the only reason I kind of don't want him on the Cardinals, like I would love him, but the main thing I want the Cardinals right now. I get emotionally attached to players. So right now, Benjamin, we just drafted him in the 7th round last year. He is good, and we haven't been able to see him play. He didn't play last year because he's not good on special teams as a gunner.
Yep.
So he didn't get any reps on special teams. And we had Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds who took all the rest of the reps. With them gone, we still have Benjamin and Chase Edmonds. So yeah, he'd be a good person there to put in there to probably start. But I really wanted to draft Etienne or Najee Harris. Preferably Najee Harris. So that kind of makes
they only have to trade up to game. They're at a good spot where he might be able to fall to them.
Now, I think the Cardinals are probably going to trade back. We just traded their round pick for Rodney Hudson. We're probably going to need that back. So I think I see the Cardinals training back from 16 to probably like the 20s or something like that for another 1st round pick and their 3rd round pick back. And I think with their 2nd round pick, I think they could probably get Etienne or Najee, whichever one falls.
Etienne's really good. I would not mind him falling.
I'd be if either of them fall to us in the 2nd round. I would take them. I wouldn't take either of them in the 1st round, just because with Patrick Peterson leaving, you need to grab a corner. There's just no exception to that. So yeah, but I would love to see Philip Lindsay. If we ended up not drafting a running back and just going with Lindsay, I'd be 100% okay with it.
And the last thing in NFL to talk about today, Jalen, we all know that there's no NFL Combine. There's nothing going on in Indianapolis right now, even though there should be while we're talking. But there's pro days taking place at their universities all across the country. We have players that either didn't play last year and just went ready for the draft. We have players that did get ready or play last year and they still are getting ready for the draft, like kind of normal. Do you think that not having Combine, just worrying about your pro day, because most players, they do the Combine and their pro days, is a good or bad thing?
For me, originally that was a bad thing. But after thinking about it for a very long time, and I really do mean a very long time of thinking about this, I think it's a good thing. I think the pressure that the NFL the NFL Combine brings makes a lot of players. We've seen it every single year. Somebody who absolutely shits the bed at the Combine, and then at their pro day, they're really good.
Yep.
Because they're really comfortable performing at their school and stuff like that. But then the pressure
it's a big difference going in front of all those NFL scouts in Indianapolis with the rest of those NFL prospects. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
And also, I think it's a little better for players because they kind of get more of a feeling for what teams like them. Because Combine, everyone's there. Everyone's looking at everybody. But if a team shows up to your pro day, it's usually because they're actually looking at you and they have an actual want for you to be on their team. You kind of get a better, because teams don't have to be more picky about it. Like, I can't send him there because somebody else is doing this today too. I can't send you there. So you can't waste scouts when you have a limited amount of scouts and a lot of people doing pro days around the same day with travel and all that. So I think it's better for players because players kind of get a sense of where they're going and what teams really want them. Especially for like the guys who are probably going to end up going undrafted. They get to decide based off of the coaches they've talked to and who actually came to see their pro day, who really wants them and what atmosphere they really want to be in. The only thing I don't like about this whole situation is players not being able to visit teams like in person. That's the only thing I'm not a big fan of right now. But other than that, I think this has been a positive. I think guys are comfortable at their campuses doing their workouts where they've been practicing.
I know it. You had to be athletic to be able to do these events, but it's almost like you get one shot to really do like some of these shows. You get like one attempt at or like one kind of round it like the vertical, your broad jumps, your 40s, your 3-cone drills and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times, like, you're able to do this better at your own gym, your own practice and stuff like that. And then not all the times, I think it's rare almost like your best performance comes at the combine. Kind of like it's a similar thing to like track and field events. It's really hard that when your best time or your best throw comes at anything but practice. I mean, you and me both play those sports. You and me both know that. Like, I think my all-time shot put PR is probably a practice.
My all-time is a practice, because like sometimes at practice, like when you're just really trying to grind and get better,
and then you have to you have all the time to do it, and then you just, the moment is big for a lot of people. Of course, that's a positive thing for these coaches to see if they're able to really play, and to be able to perform under pressure. But also, it's a thing like the combine doesn't really show how good a player is anyway. I've never really been a fan of the combine. So if players are able to get better times, better numbers,
good for them.
I'm okay with that, because the combine doesn't matter. The
combine. Also, my thing is, I'm thinking of it as home game versus away game. Most teams statistically do better at home games because that's the field that they're used to. That's their home. They have to defend their turf. You do not want to get a bad clock 40 at your own turf.
Oh, more. No, that's not happening.
So that's how I look at it. Home game versus an away game. Man, I think any athlete in the world who's played sports at an away game would choose a home game.
Essentially, to sum it up, combine's overrated, and you really shouldn't care about that, because the only thing that determines if a player is good or not is their score on the Wonderlic test. Obviously.
Taking again this year.
Which is, I'm as smart of it, is Aaron Rodgers. So
I forgot. I think mine's is Tom Brady.
So I'm as good as Aaron Rodgers, according to that in every way. But let's wrap things up, Jalen. Just a couple MLB kind of prediction things, and then a small debate that I just want to get your thoughts on, because we run it on Instagram and Twitter. I already gave my thoughts to all of you guys. Just want to see what you have to think about this. But my first kind of prediction for the MLB season is, I just want to say that the MLB in baseball is way better when Shohei Ohtani is both pitching and hitting and fully healthy, because this guy is a freak athlete. And when was the last time we've been able to see someone have junk, be able to throw absolute junk on the mound, and also be able to rip 400-foot, 430-foot home runs like it's nothing? This dude,
you don't see it every day,
right? This dude's a tank. But I have to ask you, Jalen, what's more likely, that Shohei Ohtani has 10 wins as a pitcher, or hits at least 25 home runs this season?
Ooh. I'm telling you now, I would like to see him hit 25 home runs. I feel like I would prefer that.
Both. He's doing both.
I would love to see both. If he could do both, I would love it. But I would honestly, as a pitcher, obviously he's a pitcher. They signed him to be a pitcher. I think they would prefer he gets the 10 wins over the 25 home runs. I'd like to see both. I like him as a player. I really wanted him to be a Giant when he was first talking about coming to the league. I really
want to be an A.
Everyone wanted him on their team, just seeing what he was able to do.
Thank God he didn't go to New York, at least.
Because then you don't have to worry about the DH spot and all that stuff all the time when you have a pitcher who's
I still think my favorite thing is that I will always be able to say, also, Patreon supporter Ray Rodriguez were able to make out to opening day a few seasons ago when Shohei Ohtani made his MLB debut against Oakland Athletics, and it was so cool to be able to see him live.
It's different.
You should have seen
the definition of.
You should have seen the amount of Japanese reporters that are around that dugout. It was insane. It was like a beehive.
And that's the thing. My thing, real quick, I think that is amazing. Being able to see, like, when a player comes over to join a league, like from any sport, or like another country, basketball wise and all that, seeing all like the reporters from their country coming over, being so like proud of that player.
Cool.
I love seeing that. Like that's pride right there, and I love it.
It's cool stuff. I think ultimately he's going to have he's going to have the 25 home run mark, not because he's going to have bad pitching, but it's because the Angels are not a good team, and it's because they're probably going to screw Shohei Ohtani over every time he's on the mound. Like,
I totally.
Shohei could hold teams under 3 runs a game, but also the Angels aren't able to score 3 runs a game.
Yeah, no, the funny thing is, when I was putting it in my head, I was just thinking of Ohtani by himself. Like, I was thinking, like,
Ohtani by himself, you can hit 25
Easy.
home runs by yourself. A win is a team thing, so unless he
but right when you said a win is a team thing,
even if a
I was
pitcher
like,
throws a perfect game, a pitcher could be perfect. They can throw a perfect game, get everyone out. You still need your team to score at least one run.
Yeah. Because
So
if he hits 3 home runs and the other team scores 5 points and you lose 5-3.
yeah. I don't know what to say right there. Next guy I want to talk about is Corey Seeger. You know, 2-time Silver Slugger, Rookie of the Year, World Series MVP, all around fantastic talent down there with the Dodgers. I'm sorry, Jalen, don't mean to talk him up like that. I know you don't like him, but get over it is all I gotta say.
I don't not like him as a person.
You just don't like the team. Yeah.
I don't like
No,
the
that's
team
fair.
he's on.
Like
you get traded or you leave.
I can say I hate Tom Brady as a player, but I respect the man. But also,
no, I respect him. I respect him as a player. I do not like that.
I absolutely despise Tom Brady, but I respect what he's able to do. I just hate him because he's good. That's
exactly.
That's
it's not even like a real hate. Like when you retire, I'm gonna be like, awesome, Dad.
Thank God you're finally done
Awesome
with this.
guy,
So let's give everyone else a chance. But Corey Seager, he's been on a tear with home runs, man. He's a slugger. There's a reason he won the Silver Slugger twice now.
Mm-hmm.
So over under, we're going back to a full 162 game MLB season. Are you taking the over under on 30.5 home runs hit by Corey Seager this year?
I have him hitting 31 on the dot.
So you're taking the over.
Yeah,
barely.
so the over.
I have him hitting half a home run, exactly 30.5.
30.5.
30.
It like goes over and then bounces back. So like we'll give you half a point.
Can we call it a ground rule double, half a home run?
Hey, if he hits a ground rule double and only hits 30 home runs, I'll give it to you.
Well, it's because the ball made over the fence, and there's 4 bases. He only made the 2. That's half. I think
technically a double is half of a home run.
No, I think ground rule double. Well, it's because home run has to lead the field. Ground rule double left the field. He would have. No, yeah, I'm totally going to try to justify this. I'm gonna sound like a moron.
If he gets 30 and he gets that ground rule double, I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
The Fourth and Long podcast.
If he does that, you have to eat the chip.
I will eat a chip if he hits 30 and only gets the ground rule double.
Oh, we're going. I swear, Joe, we're going to end up
pick.
making all these bets, and we're going to have to eat like 30 of these chips and just die.
And that's when we delete episodes and delete all the evidence.
No, that's when we just say anything for views.
Yes.
And then the last thing I want to ask you, Jalen, is I made my thoughts clear on this, but I can pull up the exact stats for you, so everyone else had so you can have the same insight is everyone else on this one. But my boy Ichiro Suzuki, one of the favorite guys, like we spoke about Japanese player Shohei Ohtani. When I spent my time in Japan as an exchange student, actually I had just a baseball game with Ichiro Suzuki, and I swear that dude is a god there in Japan. It's really insane how popular Ichiro is. He transcends everything. But who is the better hitter in baseball history? Not just MLB, but all of baseball. Ichiro Suzuki or all-time hits leader Pete Rose. Now let me give you some stats. Is that Pete Rose holds a career record in hits with 4,256 and had 10 200 hit seasons in 24 years. Ichiro Suzuki has 3,089 hits, so about 1,100 less. He had 10 straight 200 hit seasons in 19 years. His first 10 seasons in the MLB, he hit 200, or he had 10 straight 200 hit games. Then Ichiro also led the MLB in hits.
200 hit game, that's crazy.
Sorry, not. Thank you. You seasons. Yeah. That would just be weird. But also, I want to put past one.
Long game.
Right? Also, Ichiro, he led the MLB in hits 7 times and had the best batting average twice with 350. He was batting at 350 in 2001 in his first season. And in 2004, he batted an unreal 3.372 in 2004. So, stupid numbers. Pete Rose led the league in batting average 3 times with a .335 and a .348 and a .338. He also led on-base percentage twice with a .39 and a .418. Out of these guys, Jalen, who's a better hitter in baseball history?
In all honesty, I'm going to put this in basketball terms.
Ooh, let's get
They
some basketball
are the
terms.
Michael Jordan and LeBron of hitting. Pete Rose is the Michael Jordan, the old school classic. All the older fans of baseball probably think Pete Rose is the best. All the modern day guys probably think Ichiro is the best. This is the one time where I flip. I'm a firm believer in Jordan as the GOAT of basketball. That's just how I feel.
Never going to change.
But right now, I am
unless
going
LeBron.
to have to go.
What if LeBron James wins 3 NBA Finals before he retires?
If he wins 3 more, I'll give him the GOAT status.
Okay.
For sure. My
what
thing
if
right
loses,
now is
he goes 3-9 in these next finals.
no.
I
mean, like, my thing, the biggest thing about Jordan right now is you have to think, just real quick, you have to think about how many championships he won and how many seasons he did it, and how many attempts that he actually made it to the championship and actually won. Like that's crazy. No one else is going to come in and win that percentage. Like if you statistically put it, the percentage of championships that he won versus statistics of championships LeBron won it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I do think Ichiro is probably the best hitter. I think just being able to watch him and see what he did, and then also being able to watch film on Pete Rose.
We had to throw in some bias. Like, we never got to see Pete Rose live, obviously, because we're not 50, 60 years old. That's just nothing. Yeah. Also, at least Ichiro, he never bet on games, so he's going to make it into the Hall of Fame, even though that's a whole different bottle of worms. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose should hands down be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, come on, if I just want to go on a tangent real quick. Sure, he bet on games, but he literally bet on himself to win.
Yeah, it's like
is betting on your
betting against himself.
Betting against yourself is fine because you can throw games and you can win money that way. But betting against yourself, is that going to motivate you that much more? Like, do you get in trouble for motivating yourself?
He was like, I bet I'm going to strike 20 people out today. Throw 5,000 on that. And someone's like, what? He's like, yeah. All right. I think that should be allowed. I think you should be able to make money off yourself in a positive way. Yeah. If I put money on a bet, like in the UFC, I should be able to put money down that says, hey, I'm going to knock this guy in the first round.
I think you should be able to. But also the MLB is ran by a bunch of old angry writers because so that's a whole different can of worms here. But yeah, Ichiro Suzuki, the best hitter in the MLB and in baseball history, and it's definitely close. There's a close race. You can make either argument for either, but Ichiro Suzuki, he's just the man. He's the freaking man. I think
one thing to describe this is what George St. Pierre said very recently on the Ariel Helwani show. Yeah. Is no matter how much you like it or not, tomorrow's players will always be better than today's players.
Yep.
Obviously, there's the stats and the trophies and stuff like that, but just overall wise, the skills and the things that aren't seen as much. Like before, people started doing windmill dunks. It was seen as a rare thing. Now, pretty much everyone in the NBA can do a windmill dunk. It's just tomorrow there's going to be something else that people can do that people couldn't do today, and it's just what happens. People watch and they get better. We develop, we evolve as humans.
Better athletes,
and you just become a better athlete, and you have more to go off of.
Exactly. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap it for episode 56 of the Episodic Show. Let us know what you think about all the NBA, NFL, and MLB stuff that we covered. And Jalen, before we sign off, I just want to let you know that, of course, things happen live while we're recording, and we're obviously not a live show, not going to be able to report things live. But the Philip Lindsay to the Cardinals kind of prediction now holds more weight as Kenyon Drake signs with the Raiders. So,
oh wow,
hey, the Cardinals have a hole. So the Philip Lindsay.
I mean, the Cardinals weren't going to bring him back. He went at like 11 or 12 mil a year. We're not giving him that.
And Philip Lindsay might be able to get that, but probably not. But
no, we wouldn't give him that.
There we go. We can talk about it later once Philip Lindsay actually signs somewhere. But if you like I've been saying, go check out our latest UFC talk, episode 36 with that one. Go check out our Week 5 NFL offseason breakdown for the biggest winners and losers. And are the Patriots back? And the answer is, it's a definite maybe. And then check out our bunch of interviews that we've been putting out. Check out our AFL stuff. We've been popping those out. AFL preview show just went down. We had the first game, so expect those shows. And get out and head on over to all your best sports betting needs for all the really Thrive Fantasy. It's a really fun way to spend some money and also to make some money as well. Exactly. Because they give you all the stats you need right there. You don't need to do any of your research. It's prop betting too. You just put your team together and you go make yourself some money. So go to thrivefantasy.com, download the Thrive Fantasy app in the Google Play Store or the Apple Play Store, or just the Apple Store. Not the Apple Play Store, just Apple Store. And it's all the same thing. You know what I mean. And by using promo code 4th and Long, you get on a $20 deposit, they'll match that up to $50. So it's you get some free money with us. So it's a win-win.
Who doesn't like free money? And when you just use our code, you can just use that money. Then you don't have to use your own money, but you have to make a deposit. You use their money,
but they'll match your money. You don't.
Exactly. They'll match it. Take your money back out, and then place a bet.
That's 100%. That's 100% money. I know I ain't no math guy, but 100% is good. So go check out today. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you want to become a prestigious member and to get exclusive content and deals and discounts through this, go over to patreon.com/4thandlong. Thank you to Patreon supporters Ray Rodriguez for all your card collecting needs. Go follow on Instagram at The Big Bat Box. Thank you to Neil Wiley and his YouTube channel, Chosen Problems, and big shout out to Ryan Watson. We thank you guys so much for your continuous support. Jalen, to sum up your feelings, because I got this from Alex, to sum up your feelings on NFL free agency so far in one word or phrase, what would it be?
One word or phrase.
And there's your phrase. Unexpected. And that's going to wrap it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch you guys in the next one.